And happening right now, some breaking news. Western New York qualifying to reopen under Phase 1 of Forward New York. Everything you need to know next. Plus, a local congressional candidate joins us live to talk about how COVID-19 has impacted her campaign.
Well, a few rain showers have been moving through the area this morning, but some drier weather is ahead. I've got the full forecast next as the news at noon starts right now.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thanks for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Western New York is slated to begin the process to reopen. That's starting tomorrow. New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo announced the news this morning, speaking at Roswell Park Cancer Institute in Buffalo. So far, neighboring regions of Finger Lakes and the southern Tierhead met the criteria. The region needed 521 virus tracers in order to meet its final requirements for reopening. The governor says 525 now have been identified and training is underway. This means Western New York can begin Phase 1 of reopening starting tomorrow. So what does this mean for our region and specifically here in Jamestown? Well, certain businesses are now given the green light to reopen, but restrictions are still in place. We have a full list breaking down those businesses at WNYNewsNow.com and on our mobile app. Well, health officials say a lack in social distancing is to blame for an increase in COVID-19 cases this past weekend. Yesterday, the Chautauqua County Health Department reported 3 new cases of the virus here. There is now a total of 53 confirmed cases, including the new cases of 2 young adult males and 1 woman in her 50s. Of the cases, 14 are active and continuing to recover in quarantine. In Cattaraugus County, there are a total of 50 confirmed cases of the virus, with 14 active there. Officials say the newest case, which was reported Saturday, involves a woman living in the southwest corner of the county who was in recent contact with another positive COVID-19 case. Well, protesters once again took to the streets of Jamestown over the weekend, calling on state, county, and local officials to reopen our area. Around 150 demonstrators gathered at noon Saturday in Dow Park, sharing their stories about how their livelihoods have been negatively impacted by the New York on pause shutdown. This was the 3rd demonstration in just as many weeks. Protesters say it's not fair our reopening status is looped in with Buffalo, and they are ready to reopen now.
We're ready. We have plans in place to respectfully and responsibly operate our businesses, developing, stuff like we already have single-use menus, we have single-use pens, we have face masks for our employees, we have floor plans all set up to accommodate a lower amount of occupancy.
Now, last week, our area's congressional and state representatives held a press conference speaking out about the shutdown and throwing their support behind reopening. Assemblyman Andy Goodell making the boldest claim there, calling for Chautauqua County to reopen in a safe, responsible manner immediately. Well, in an attempt to encourage New Yorkers to get tested for COVID-19, Governor Andrew Cuomo demonstrated a COVID-19 test during his press conference yesterday. Take a look.
I'm going to show you how fast and easy it is to take a test and demonstrate why there should be no reluctance. This is Dr. Elizabeth Dufort, who is in the appropriate PPE wear. Nice to see you, doctor. You make that gown look good.
Head up a little bit. Close your eyes.
Close my eyes?
Okay.
Why do I need to close my eyes? You can question the doctor. That's okay. Why do I need to close my eyes?
For comfort. It might make you tear a little bit.
Okay. If I fall asleep?
Then we'll have you sit down. Head up a little bit.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it?
That's all.
Nothing else?
That's all.
Told you. Thank you very much, doctor.
Well, it took under 15 seconds for the governor to get tested, and he says there's no pain or discomfort associated with it. Now, today, he announced the result of his test has come back negative. During the peak of the COVID-19 outbreak, testing was a critical piece in controlling the virus. Now that the state is beginning to reopen, Cuomo says that testing will be important to continue to monitor the spread. He says the state continues to increase its testing capacity, and now about 40,000 of those tests are being performed throughout the state each day. Well, a parade to recognize and thank staff at Heritage Ministries during this outbreak took place on Friday. Churches and community members alike participated in the Community Encouragement Parade, where participants decorated their vehicles and created signs of support. Both staff and residents looked on while practicing safe social distancing as the parade moved throughout the Gary campus. Heritage Ministries senior chaplain Larry Petrie says that since the outbreak, a sense of community and love has seemed to grow there.
We've seen family members and friends just do a phenomenal job of staying engaged. Just recently with Mother's Day, I was in one of our facilities. It was amazing. The gifts, the cards, the phone calls, the window visits, the FaceTime, the Skype calls, just between the staff and families doing everything they can to stay connected, to stay encouraged and stay engaged. It's just been an amazing thing to see. It's been humbling, and it's been great to see that community come together.
Petrie says that notes, gift cards, flowers, and other expressions of encouragement for the staff was delivered to employees that day. Well, we thank you all so much for joining us here for WNY News Now as we continue to put facts over fear in our coverage of COVID-19. Certainly great to see the community coming together in that way, and always love seeing the smiling faces of people there. Got to say hello to Butch. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks so much for joining us. Good to see Brenda, Terry, Lakeith. Good to see Pam. Thanks for joining us. Ray, David, Beth, and Joseph. We all thank you for joining us here today. And if you haven't heard the late breaking news here on the broadcast, New York State's Governor Andrew Cuomo announced just a little while ago that Western New York now moving into phase 1 of reopening under Forward NY guidelines. Now in that phase includes several businesses like florists and other retail stores, as well as certain aspects of manufacturing. We have a full list detailing specific sectors and what is good to go starting Tuesday, keeping in mind some regulations from the state, which we have on our website and mobile app as well. Well, let's now get a check of our First Defense weather forecast, and that's where we find Chief Forecaster Dakota Hunter. Happy Monday to you, Dakota.
Happy Monday, Jay, and happy Monday to all of you. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend. And yeah, we had a little bit of rain, especially last night and this morning. This is a live look over Findlay Lake. This is a camera that we don't show too often. 61 in Findlay Lake right now, and 0.07 of an inch has been recorded since midnight today, or should I say since midnight tonight. So some scattered rain showers continue across the southern tier. Now, as we hinted in the little Facebook video that we posted yesterday, that the models have been going all over the place. There has been a lot of disagreement on where the heavier rain was going to be. Now, the new model guidance has shoved the heavier rain back to the west. So flooding issues through the day. I don't expect any more rain. Basically, just a few more rain drops through the afternoon here. But Doppler radar estimates here about 0.02 of an inch around Sinclairville, about 0.03 of an inch around Dunkirk. I'll actually show you the rainfall amounts that we've had so far today. So big issues from the rain. Not expected here. A lot of it's going to be to the west. 67 was the high yesterday. 54 was the low this morning. And 89 and 26 are essentially in the record books for today. So through the afternoon, scattered showers continue, especially early to mid this afternoon. Otherwise, it tapers off through the day. Just lots of clouds around. Seasonable with a healthy breeze. 64 on the hills to 69 near the Lake Erie shoreline with a south wind or a east wind averaging about 10 to 15 miles per hour. High pressure returns tomorrow and big warm up on the way by the weekend. We'll talk about it in a few. Justin?
All right, Dakota, thank you very much. Coming up next, election 2020 is just a few months away. We speak to a congressional candidate about her bid for Congress and how COVID-19 is impacting her campaign. That just 60 seconds away.
With coverage that matters. This is WNY News Now.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvanna Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
When you're on the go, stay in the know by downloading the WNY News Now mobile app. Stay up to date on local news, weather, and sports that matter to you. Plus, subscribe to breaking news and weather alerts from the team that puts coverage first. In addition, watch news as it happens with the Southern Tier's only 24/7 streaming network. Download the WNY News Now app right now. It's free on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
And welcome back to WNY News Now. Election 2020 is only a few months away, but first there's a scramble to reopen our region and get people back to work. Joining us on the show to talk about her campaign for Congress and thoughts on COVID-19 and the current response here is Democrat candidate Tracy Metrano. Tracy, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Justin. Great to see you.
First off, I wanted to talk about COVID-19 and now the process to reopen our region. We learned some big news today here for Western New York that we're going to be moving to phase 1 starting tomorrow. So far throughout the process, what has been your take on how things have been going?
Well, first, allow me to congratulate Western New York. It's very exciting. As of tomorrow, it means all of the COVID regions now coincide with the 23rd Congressional District, and we are all on a path to moving forward and getting back on track. The campaign has kept a pace. As many of you know, I was living in Chautauqua a year ago right now. I lived out there for about 3 months, first month up around Sunset Bay and Silver Creek. Then I was down in the Mayville area and then a little closer to Jamestown. I come from Western New York, and so I enjoyed my time talking about the bills and eating chicken wings and getting to know people a little better. So now that we've had a move online, we have done that almost seamlessly. I come from IT, and we were able to just get a lot of our events online. And in many ways, Justin, that actually broadens the reach of the people that we can bring to a Tuesday with Tracy session, to a town hall, to an open question session. So we have expanded our campaign in the light of this pandemic.
Now, last week, you called out Congressman Tom Reed, your opponent, as reaction to Governor Cuomo's nursing home testing mandate. Why did you make that move?
Well, I can understand that every additional thing that people have to do, especially when we are in this time of such profound duress, just feels like one more thing. How can we deal with it? But I believe that it is the role of a leader to stand up in moments like that and help people get over that hump. The hump is understandable, but we need leadership to guide us in the right direction instead of taking advantage of it for political reasons, I believe, in this case with Mr. Reed. The issue was testing nursing home personnel twice a week. We know that this opportunistic virus nests in trapped populations like that. And the way people are getting infected is now it is through staff because family can't visit. Often the people who work in those areas, it's low-paying jobs, and they come from low-income areas where they aren't perhaps with all the information that is necessary, or they don't have the social distancing just by virtue of the social density about where they live. So it seemed to me that that was a very reasonable thing to protect the elderly. And I will share, and I'm going to make public for the first time, my brother's in a group home, Justin.
Yeah.
And I was called yesterday to find out he's tested positive. And it was a staff member. I was called on Wednesday and told that a staff member was asked to go home with symptoms. So this is real. And again, I understand it's hard. Everything is hard for everybody. And one more thing just seems like the straw that's going to break our back. But we have to have leaders helping people to get over that step so that we can all get better and make sure that people like my brother or someone's mom or dad is not adversely affected for the failure to exercise just these basic protocols that help us all out.
I'm so sorry to hear about that diagnosis. It must be very tough. When you first heard the call, what was your reaction, the feelings?
Well, when I heard the call on Wednesday that they had sent a staff member home, I just thought I will wait. Then on Saturday, I received the call that he was in the hospital near to his group home, which is in Victor, New York, and being tested, and that he had a fever. And yesterday, when the head nurse called me, very, very kind and thoughtful, I was upset. I was upset. Of course, who wouldn't be? My
Right.
brother's 66 years old. He's been in institutional care since 1958. He has suffered awful things when he was a child in the new group homes. It's been a good environment, but it's just sad. And if we just have these protocols and work together to help each other instead of trying to fight, we'll all get to a better place. And that's what I advocate.
And I what I've heard from a lot of people who were impacted by COVID-19, they say before feeling the virus's effects in their family, in their life, they didn't really think that it was that serious. They heard on social media or wherever that, oh, it's just like the flu. And for some people it is. But for a lot of people, it is a very serious illness if you have pre-existing conditions and aren't able to fight the virus. For you, taking precautions and watching it play out as an individual and then now seeing the impacts, do you see the outbreak from a different perspective?
Well, I feel it emotionally in a way that is personal because he is my brother. My parents have passed on. I am his guardian. And so sure, I feel that. It hasn't terribly changed my view of how we all need to be working together to get to a better place about it. And I do hope that my brother's case is a mild one. The great concern is in elder care homes, especially for people who are over 80 years old. The statistics are if a person is positive, they often will have 20% chance of not making it. That compares with 2 or 3% in the general population. And so it's a very challenging circumstance, especially with people who are elderly and those who are in compromised medical circumstances.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, the working together for reopening now is a big move that we're all seeing and hearing today.
Yes.
Over the weekend, there was some pushback to New York on pause here in Jamestown, the third protest in just as many weeks, that called on leaders to lift those restrictions now. For you, what process do you want to see watching protests like this take place, not just in Jamestown, but across the state? What does it say to the people who are ready to reopen?
Well, that we do all have to work together, but I understand their frustration. We all feel it. We all have had some form of an impact, your IRA, your retirement account, your job, your school, your child and children are at home. Right now, if people are inclined to want to be advocates, given, thank goodness, that Western New York is opening up now, I would advise them to advocate for a resolution on this bill that the House passed at the end of last week and is making its way through Congress. Unfortunately, our Congress seems to divide so quickly on partisan issues. I am asking people who are affected by it and who could use the money for small business, use it for unemployment, use it to get back on track, that they let all of our representatives know it's imperative that they stop arguing about the partisan issues and find a way to get the money that we need to keep us healthy, alive, productive, and then again, back on economic track as well as back on a health track. We have to stop this partisan fighting. It's not helping any of us. So right now that bill was passed by the House and it is moving up through the Senate. and now to the president. And I am not saying it's perfect. I am saying do everything we can to not stress the partisan aspects and find the common ground so that we all experience the benefit. And I believe if we had that kind of attention in Congress in the two previous bills, so much of that money went to corporations and special interests and not to the people who need it. That we have to work on this common ground. And then later we'll figure out who were the representatives who only cared about the corporations or the special interests. But right now, people need help. And if I were in Congress, that is what I would be doing. I would be finding the common ground and getting help out to the real people who need it. And that is everybody in the 23rd Congressional District, Western New York, Finger Lakes, and Southern Tier.
Now, this is the second time that you're facing Congressman Reed for his congressional seat. What's different about your campaign this year, and why run again?
Well, we have more time. We ran out of time. We had a very challenging primary in 2018. And why run again? First of all, I promised that I would. Part of the disadvantage the Democrats, I think, have been experiencing is that they just keep getting a new candidate. And that means you have to get name recognition all over, and you have to get the approval of the Democratic committees throughout the district. I promised in 2017, when I got into the race, believing it would take 2 times to get Mr. Reed out, that I would stay in the race, that I would unite the district, and there wouldn't be a primary. I've lived up to my promise, and I believe we are going with momentum to defeat a politically corrupt politician on November 3rd of this year and start to get not only the help we need because of this pandemic, but 10 years under Tom Reed, this area has not moved an inch, and it is time to get this area moving. The Southern Tier, Finger Lakes, especially Western New York, Jamestown, that's what I learned when I lived out there last year. You guys have been suffering a lot, and a lot worse than some other places, Corning or Tompkins County. But we can get you on track. You just need the leadership, someone who really cares, and will get the affordable health care, the education, the infrastructure together in such a way that we will be attractive to new business. That's the basis of what I had as a platform in 2018. It remains, but this time I think people will have a chance to get to know me, discern what is a lie about me often from Mr. Reed and his campaign and how he has depicted me or other opponents in the past. And if they get to know me, I hope they would just listen to me to know I am running on their behalf, on the interests of the people of this district.
Now, we've talked with election officials here in Chautauqua County who feel that voters might be a little hesitant to head to the polls because of COVID-19. Norm Green, he's one of the commissioners here. He's urging people to partake in absentee ballot voting, especially during primaries this summer to help ease those fears. Touching on your cybersecurity expertise, do you think that online voting could be something going forward, or are we not quite there yet?
I usually don't like to interrupt, but that is so important to get that message out. Anything that is on the internet, Justin, is not safe. The safest method of voting is by mail. And now we can add to cybersecurity safe, health, public health safe. But it is very important to educate people that neither in the primary coming up on the 23rd or on November 3rd of this year will we be able to have total postal voting as they have in Oregon and Colorado and other places. What is happening instead is for the 23rd of June, it could be if the governor issues an order for November 3rd, is every single registered voter will receive an absentee application. They do not have to have a reason, as you used to have to in the past using an absentee ballot. All they have to do, but they have to do it, is fill that application out and send it back. And then they will receive the absentee ballot, which they can fill out and then send back. And it will be counted, one person, one vote, just the way it would be if they showed up to a poll in physical space.
Do you think that creates a challenge for not just you, but for everyone trying to campaign, to try to say, instead of necessarily coming out to vote, because we don't know what that will look like, they might be able to, so much uncertainty. But does it create a challenge where you say, I need you to get your absentee ballots that will be sent to you, I need you to fill them out, I need you to send them in, or does it make it easier?
Well, you know, I have learned that the most responsible form of campaigning is to educate And I've been an educator all my life. So I'm educating people on why we have been neglected when you don't have health care, when you don't have proper education, and you don't have an infrastructure. Companies aren't going to invest. It is as simple as that. So educating on the importance of democracy, on the significance of one person, one vote, and then how you effectuate it, or educating on how we can work better together to reopen all of our areas, and not only with phase 1, but let's get to phase 2 and 3 and so forth. It's education. That is responsible campaigning. That's responsible electioneering. When representatives want to use those moments to divide people, to accelerate anxiety about voting, about the economy, about health, they're not acting as responsible representatives. And that's when people should step back, take a breath, look at the options that they have, and choose what they believe is going to be better for them, better for their community, better for their family. Someone who is positive, forward, looking to have this whole community do better, instead of someone who's always harping on criticisms, division, divide, misinformation, and fear. We don't need that in our government. We need something that we can trust. And I hope that I am representing those forward, positive approaches to governance.
All right, congressional candidate Tracy Metrano joining us on the broadcast today. Tracy, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate hearing from you.
Thanks, Justin.
Now let's get a check of our weather forecast with Dakota.
Well, it definitely has been wet the past 24 hours. Here are some of the rainfall totals that came in this morning. Silver Creek at almost half an inch of rain there. Ishiway in Cat County, just a little bit under a quarter of an inch there. Fredonia at 0.21. Mayville, 0.15 of an inch. Brockton, 0.07 of an inch. And Jamestown at the airport, only 1/100th of an inch. So here's what's coming up here. So showers will continue this afternoon. It's not going to be as steady state as what we had originally thought, but there will be some pockets of showers, especially early this afternoon. Again, flooding issues are not expected. Again, I'll show you future scan in just a minute how it shoved a lot of the heavier rain way off to our west now. So any major impacts not expected here, but high pressure returns Tuesday. And along with that, we will be warming up into Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be too early right now to know if we're going to be entirely dry for the entire weekend, but it will be warm though. 60 right now at the airport as of noon hour with a southeast wind of 9, and it feels like 60 degrees, obviously, with the air temperature and the dew point together. So radar right now shows you just a few of these little light showers, mainly northern, and then it's basically central and northern Chautauqua County, and also going into Cat County as well. There's a little bit of shower activity out here going out into Gowanda right now. And but as we zoom this out to the wider view, this is the system right here that is throwing all this rain. But notice these pockets of heavier rain moving right here. This is where the heavier rain is going to be, right along in here. The low pressure area is basically just going to stall out, and that is why the heavier rain will likely stay well off to our west. Hey, look at this. We have our first tropical storm of the season down here off the Carolinas. It is Tropical Storm Arthur. This is the 6th straight May in which we had a named tropical storm. And now please keep in mind the hurricane season doesn't officially start. It does not officially start until June 1st. But this is Tropical Storm Arthur right now, 50-mile-per-hour winds right now. And this thing is going to curve out into the Atlantic. It will not impact us, but it actually will play a little bit into our weather a little bit, because notice future scan, notice how it picks up on a few of those showers this afternoon. Then it goes away tonight. Tonight should be mostly cloudy, dry though, with a little bit of a breeze. Tomorrow high pressure builds in, and that high pressure is going to keep all that rain basically to our west and keep that tropical system down to our south and curve it back out to sea. In fact, here are some of the projected rainfall totals. Notice right here in Ohio, 3.1 inches in 3.1 inches in Cincinnati, 2.7 inches, in Columbus, half an inch in Cleveland. This is where that heavier rain will be, not here. Earlier last week, some of these 2 to 3 inch totals were right across Western New York, which if that would have verified, we would have had major flooding issues. But the good news here, or at least the good news for us, is that that's going to be further out to our west. Zonecast here, temperatures today will be likely in the mid to upper upper 60s through the day, but showers early, and then it'll start to taper off. Next 7 days of your life coming up, 67 tomorrow, 66 on Wednesday, sunny both days here. Thursday, more sun, up to 70. Friday, we should be mainly dry as of right now, 72. And there's the Memorial Day weekend up into a summertime preview. Too early to know if Memorial Day at this point will be dry, but that is something we'll keep an eye on. News continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and also the mobile app. Make sure you download it for iPhone and Android. It's the best news app in the Southern Tier. Have a good day. See you tomorrow.